So we are talking together as usual. So I'm doing the boring marketing stuff, and he's doing the interesting technical stuff. You see the pictures. I will start and just about myself. So yeah, my name is Andre. So I guess I'm here third or fourth time. So I guess the first time I was here in 2015. And it's my first talk today. So Joy said it may be the last time you're allowed to enter the UK. So I said, okay, I have to talk. So and then clear, yeah, see my contact data. Just for the background, so we are from Germany, and as I said, I guess 2015 we had, or even 2014, we get first involvements with CloudStack, and we were really impressed. And this leads us to the fact that we then hosted or invited Giles or JetBlue to host the European User Conference in Berlin once. So it was 2016, and this was for us the starting point for the German CloudStack User Group. Yeah, and there we usually, so we are located in Dresden, but we try to, so Dresden's unfortunately not so easy to reach. So, and then we try always, so we make it in Berlin sometimes, then Leipzig, we had some in Chemnitz or even Frankfurt. So we try to make it in different locations just to make it more attractive for the people. Okay, that's for my background, and as I said, so I take the marketing part. And what is more important, because we figured out in the last years in many discussions that we have a very special use case. Yeah? Because we are, our company is a consulting company which is dealing with SAP. Yeah? So from the origin, so I'm with Itelligence, or we all are, we both are with Itelligence, and Itelligence was founded as a consulting company for SAP systems. That means implementing ERP systems, finance stuff, so pure application consulting. Yeah. So therefore, whenever you look at the homepage, you usually won't find infrastructure. You will maybe find hosting or something like this. But so the things which we are doing usually, you do not see when you look at the homepages of talks. So, but meanwhile, so therefore I found this slide very interesting. So you see all is consulting area, so this is the red one, so it's just the share of the stuff. But but the thing what we call remote and hosting is growing, since years. So this what we call support, hosting, or application management is becoming bigger and bigger, and also much more important for the company. Yeah, and this is really the growing part. So the consulting is, will not increase so much. Yeah, we are around 7,000 employees, but yeah, this is good. But because what is more important, that we have 5 data centers in the different locations. So Bielefeld and Bautzen in Germany, so not so famous cities, but Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia, Poland, and Cincinnati. So we have some own data centers where we host basically our customer systems, and then clearly we also operate systems as customer side. Okay, and regarding this, so clear we do a hosting, then we have the new stuff with hyperscalers, AWS, and so on. And so clearly our customers are asking us, okay, maintain my systems wherever they are. So whether they are on your data center, whether they are on my data center, whether they are on AWS or else. So please, this is our slogan, so we manage your, and you see it there, SAP Cloud. Yeah. Okay. So enough for the company, because now I want to explain a little bit what is so special on SAP. I don't know. Who knows SAP systems? Little bit. Okay. You see, so it's quite. I guess it's a German-based company. It's they are making ERP software quite a lot. You have different brands, which I don't want to focus on, but as you know, we are coming from an SAP consulting history. We are usually maintaining or operating SAP systems. So I guess for 95, maybe 98% of our systems which we are operating on infrastructure level are SAP systems. Yeah, we have clearly production, training, demo, development. But as I said, important is SAP. And SAP, is quite a massive application, I would call it this way. Yeah? So it's always quite huge, quite inflexible. And even so, they have a new technology invented, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, which they are calling SAP HANA. It's basically a database in memory. Yeah? So, and they are now moving all their applications on this SAP HANA. Which is, by itself it's a database, but there are also, a lot of built-in functions which you can use in the applications. Yeah. And now comes the important thing. So you have system sizes of 32 gigabyte up to 12 terabyte memory. Yeah, not storage, memory. And when we have when we install the smallest application which we can install takes us 15 minutes. And usually 8 hours, or even the bigger ones are even longer. Yeah? So we even have systems which are booting for 1 hour. So, and this is really, you have to understand when we are talking about our use case, because we cannot use the small tiny VMs and just move it around and so on, because it's really difficult. And you can imagine, if you have an error in an ERP system and your system stands still, then you get a lot of calls, and you have to be much more secure than, I don't know, hosting an HR application or whatever. And this you have to understand. So as I said, huge workflows. We have complex scenarios, so we often have disasters, so where one system then goes out and so on. So this is also very complex because you have to make this in line with the application. So it's not so easy in the SAP case. Yeah. And even we have often physical servers. Yeah. Even so, especially I guess at the moment when we are above 1 terabyte, we usually have to use physical servers because otherwise SAP is not supporting it. Yeah. Okay. Did I make this understandable? Okay, why CloudStack? Yeah, as I said, so I guess first touch points we had in 2014, and then finally decided, I guess end of 2014, to implement CloudStack for our initially test environment and so on as usual. But then we said, okay, we want to. So the first production step was to use it for our internal test and demo systems. Yeah, as you do usually. But we had some requirements based on the use case which I meant before. Okay, in these days the system were not so big yet, but yeah. But we have usually 3 virtualization, which we have to support. KVM, mostly used then VMware, especially for the production environments, and Xen are rarely used, I guess. So we have, I guess, some Xen systems, but yeah. And the most important thing, beside all the requirements, was, okay, we have so many issues with the SAP system, so we want to have as less issues as possible with maintaining our own environment. Yeah. So we need something stable, something easy, and something easy to maintain. That's the most important thing, because we have enough troubles with the SAP application. Okay, and so the feedback was really good. So clearly I'm talking here at the CloudStack European, so I won't tell that we don't like it, but it's really the case. Yeah. So the administrators were really enthusiastic. So I guess they made an upgrade. I don't know, was it 10 minutes or 15 minutes over Saturday of the CloudStack? So from I don't know the version yet, but it was really fantastic. So they never experienced something like this before. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Usually it takes us 3 months preparation and then doing all the stuff here. It went really easy. Yeah. community, therefore we are here, we are quite often here. And yeah, it's really, you can help, it's an open community, and this is what we like. So now the interesting part.
I'll try my best. So, yeah, as Andre already introduced, so my name is Ingo. So I'm trying to do more of the technical stuff, so don't ask me really deep questions, but I do my best. So, yeah, as Andre already introduced, so we picked CloudStack, so luckily, so we had a look at different systems in 2014, and since then, yeah, we are running on CloudStack only, and we try to tell today how we use it, so what is the technical background underneath it, and yeah, what is our environment there. So yeah, maybe just to the background. So Andre said, so we use it for internal purpose. So SAP systems are a little bit difficult. So some cases you have production systems which cannot be working in that cloud environment, but our main focus is to, like, for training, demo, and development systems, and therefore it's quite easy to use. And also, like, I'll come later to the technologies we use underneath. So it's also a question with support of SAP. So you cannot choose every technology you like. So this is. It looks quite a lot, but I'm going through a few things I want to show today. So just jump into it. This is the technology stack we are using. So it's, as you can see, it's all open source. So for the internal use, which is not like, it doesn't have to be supported by SAP, and it doesn't need certification. So we are quite open with the technologies. And yeah, of course, for internal purpose, it shouldn't cost a lot, so that's why we are running with lots of open source software, and this is like the environment. So, see my point.
Funktioniert nie auf dem Bildschirm.
Damn. Okay. Of course, CloudStack is the main part. I come later to it. We do a lot with Ansible there, so all the automation underneath. So on the one hand side, for the infrastructure, so like Andre mentioned, so upgrading systems and so on, this is all done with Ansible. Also installing central infrastructure, this is all Ansible. But we also use it for a portal, which I will show later on. There, all the automation, all the background things are in Ansible. Then, yeah, as a storage technology, so we are also using open source technology. That's quite important. And then, yeah, central authentication, so all the components we are using are on a central LDAP, so you can log in to the portal, to the actual customer VMs, then always one user, it's all connected to the LDAP, all the permissions coming from the LDAP, so it's all based on that. So virtualization is KVM, then we have monitoring with CheckMK, and then, yeah, backup and ticketing system, that's all integrated into the system. All based on open source technology. Yeah, I think this is quite familiar for you. So all the compute, storage, and networking is done by CloudStack in our case. We also use tagging quite a lot, because all what we show in the application, in the end user front end, is based on the tagging and also the usage recording. So CloudStack records all the parameters, how much a VM was running, but we also have the pricing and so on based on those tags, which are stored in CloudStack. So yeah, this is just, so we don't have a live demo as we had in the past in Berlin, so which was a little tricky. So so we're coming up with a screenshot today. So as you can see on the right hand side, so there are this is where we started with. So we handed out the different applications to the end user, did a little bit of branding, so like monitoring, the CloudStack and the backup system and so on. And they are really, really, technical related. So we are talking about people which use that. They are like SAP, we call it SAP basis administrators. So they're not even quite sure what a virtual machine is. So they know, okay, I need to use PuTTY to SSH in there, and they, okay, CD in that directory and run this command. So that's why it was a little bit tricky to give them direct access to the systems, and if you don't have experience with those kind of applications, it's quite hard to use. So that's why we came up with the idea, okay, we put everything under one hood. So one user front end, which shows all the different functionality in the way they can understand it. So really easy. We do a lot of automation behind, so that's the tricky part is always like kind of hidden. And also one good thing is that in case we like to replace one application, so we don't have to tell the customer, okay, you have to learn now how you can use it. You can just replace it in the background. So for example, the ticketing system also, we can just change it and the user won't even notice that we change some core functionality behind. So this gives you an idea how it's all working in the background. So the user is in front of the portal, and all what's being displayed, so like what virtual machines you have, what storages, and what networks, this is all done from the portal directly. There's an API call to the CloudStack, and it's just reading the information, so what VMs I have, sizes, and offerings, and so on. This is all in a synchronous way because the response of the front end needs to be quick. So this is not going through Ansible, what I'm going to explain right now. So it's all directly calls to the CloudStack. And then we come to the point where we want to do some actions. So like we could also like do like create a virtual machine. We just go in the portal and then call the CloudStack directly, but we want to do a lot more, and also we want to do it in parallel. So that's why we came up with this asynchronous way, where you send all your requests to Ansible, and in this case, I'll show later on, it's going to an Ansible daemon, which we wrote for our own purpose. So you could like use also like Ansible Tower, for example, like having all the jobs, handling those, but we do a lot more there, and that's why we came up with the idea to write an own daemon for that. And this daemon sends then requests to all the other components, to doing write operations, to like creating a volume. It sends then the request to CloudStack, creating the volume, setting up the monitoring, creating the users, and so on. That's all done by this asynchronous way. Then this is like some information about the daemon, so why we came up with that. Okay, of course you can have like, you can control execution of different jobs and so on in Ansible Tower, but we said, okay, it shouldn't cost any money, so that's why Ansible Tower was out at this point. And also we do a lot more. So one is like we have a queue in there. I will show later on how this works in the user front end. So like multiple users running system setups, creating disks or whatever, and they do it in parallel. So we have to put it in a queue. Then of course, like Andre said, so we don't want to wait for an application installation for 8 hours, and the other user wants to just create a disk. So we have to also execute it in parallel. So, but in a certain way, because Ansible is somehow limited, so you cannot run like 1,000 automation jobs at the same time. So that's why we still have it in queue. And then we came up also with the idea with the playbook header. So I'll show later on how this works in detail. So because we have In the user front end, it's bless you. Thank you. It's very adaptive. So it's like what you see in the front end. It's not programmed by the UI designers. It's coming from the playbooks. So you just put some new playbooks for automation in a folder, and as soon as they are there, you can see them in the application. So like, for example, automated setup of an SAP HANA database. You just put up the playbook there, and then it's being picked up by the daemon, and the user can then see it. And so that the portal knows, okay, what application is that, and what do I need to ask? So I don't know, certain parameters. So usually every SAP system has an SID, so you have to ask that, and different other parameters. So it's all being picked up from the header information, and also dependencies. So we have like dependencies. You have like database version 2.0 doesn't run with /11, for example. So then it has to change. Then all this information we collected from our colleagues from the application, the SAP basis administrators, and it's all this information is in the playbook header. So all these dependencies, okay. Otherwise, the user would just go next, and then install it, and then later it fails because it will send you the message, okay, it's not supported. So it's all like pre-filtered in the UI. So that's why we show only allow different combinations. Just one thing back to the asynchronous way. So in the right up corner, you have like this little bell where you can see all your jobs running. So like I said, so just creating an application takes a few hours. So you have to wait. That's running in the background. And also like creating volumes and everything. So you see it all running here. And as soon as it's finished, you just see it up there as an alert that it's done now. Or you can even, like if it's running for a few hours, you can even say, okay, on the time when you set up the application, when you start the automation, then you say, okay, just notify me by email. And then we get an email, okay, everything is installed, everything's finished. And I can go and use it right now. So this is, of course, it's a little bit hard to read, but I may explain it in a little bit more detail. So here you have all those fields for an example for an SAP HANA database installation. So you have like here you have the HANA versions, so you can have a drop-down field with like a few versions. Then you want to select also the operating system. So as soon as you change something here, you will not be allowed to select like a few of the operating systems because they are not supported. And then you also have like input fields like put in your host name, which network you want to have that machine on. Then you can also like enable and the installation time, like the monitoring and backup at this time. So you all say that at the beginning, so you don't have to send this request to certain teams, say set up the monitoring, set up the backup feeds. It's all in that one process. Then I also mentioned about this SID. They have like 3 characters SID, so identity for an SAP system. So that's usually important. And then you have like system usage. You can have like say, okay, I want to have a development system only, so it doesn't have all the performance features on there. Or I want to have a production system. Then you have like LVM with like lots of parallel input output. And then of course the database size, it starts like a 32 gigabyte, and then it goes quite high, the database. And here you see like the notification checkbox is okay, send an email or send an email to somebody else. You just type an email address in there, and then the person who calls you, they get a request, an email, and say they know, okay, it's all done. Can use it right now. So this is the workflow we do like in one step. So what is seen in this front end, it will like always create a new machine. So we don't like install an application on an existing system because we don't know what's already on there and might break something. So like for example, we automate a web server and there's already a web server running on port 80 and then you install something and it breaks it. So that's why we always like start with something new. We start with the compute. We attach some storage to it. Also like the storage layout is quite complicated. You have lots of disks, lots of different mount points for an SAP system. And this like the application guys usually don't know that, so you have like different parties of infrastructure, the SAP basis guys, and then the application guys. So all the knowledge is spread to different teams. So we combine that all together and have running in one workflow. So yeah, as I said, as soon as the machine is ready with the compute and the storage, so like we also roll out all the infrastructure components at that time. So we have just a core image, so with no special settings. It's all coming from the automation. Of course, it's taking time, so it's a lot longer, taking longer time than just pre-configured images. But we can be very flexible here. So like with the Ansible rollout, so we just once we create the machine, you get usually the root password, and then we do the key rollout, and then we can SSH the machine and do all the Ansible stuff then. So as I said, it's doing the complete workflow from the application, and then we know, okay, for this application there's like a huge list of ports which needs to be opened. We do that. We enable the monitoring. We configure the backup. It's all in one process. So usually when we talk to other teams in the company, they really have a workflow. Okay, first go to the server management. You will get a virtual machine. Then, okay, I need some disk space. So then they go to the storage team and they get some storage. And then it goes step by step by step, and then it takes a week to set up a system. And that's for production environment could be okay, but if you have like a testing system you want to just spin up, that's not going to work. And also like we also use it for developers internally, so they just need to have an application where they need to develop a plugin, but then they have to look for someone, okay, who can install me a test system? And this is the purpose of this whole thing. So Jada's already looking at the watch. No?
I was, but don't read anything into it.
Okay, just two more slides. So just a few words about the setup in the background. So this is like how a customer network in our case is called. So we call it landscape. So this is an environment, just one network for the customer, where they can deploy their machines. Those are like the custom machines. And then we always have one additional host which does all the central services. So it does like the LDAP, then the monitoring, and also, yeah, as it's written here, all the automation. So you just trigger from a central point from the portal the automation, and it runs here from that automation host. Then the automation runs towards to the clients. And in the whole view, it looks like this. So you have like this central automation host, which is talking to CloudStack. And then when it goes further in the process, once you have built up the machine, it's there where you have talked to CloudStack. You have the storage. Later on, you need to go to the machine to configure the application and everything locally. And it's sending a request to a local Ansible host where the daemon is running, and they can roll out then all the application settings. And we can have like from the load perspective and scaling, so each customer has its own host. We can also have like put more hosts, more automation hosts here. if it takes too long, if the load is too long, they're too high, and if there's too much automation going on. So that's why we scale in that way to grow with each customer. So, and even what we can also do is we can have like the individual playbooks here. So like what you said, so with the applications, so we can say, okay, for this customer we provide those applications, and for this customer those. Because the daemon is always looking at the repository on its local file system. So, and every customer can see different applications to automate. Yeah, that's about it. So now we come to the point with the questions. Are there?
I would have one. Since we are also currently, or we're having a minor project to migrate our existing ERP system to SAP, I would be quite interested in those Ansible scripts where you can deploy the SAP HANA database and so on. Do you consider those scripts intellectual property, or are you able to share them with the community?
I think I can explain how this all works. So with the SAP installation. So if you have an existing system, you should think about like exporting, importing it. So you can export with the data and the application together and import it on the new system. And what we do here, so the intellectual property is I don't think it's too hard. So it's going a process. So the Ansible playbook going from the VM to the storage, and when it comes to the point to install the application. So usually that's why it makes this all really difficult, because like all the applications usually they just have a front end and it just select everything. So it's like this. They have an installer which has information about all the different applications you can install, and at the end when you go through that wizard, there you will get an XML file at the end. So you usually just go to the wizard and then click next and install, and then it runs the installation. But at the time when you just finished everything and you click cancel, it will leave the XML file for you. And this is what we do here. So we take that huge XML file and say, okay, and ask the guys from the application team, so what from that huge thing you want to be what adaptive, so what do you want to change, like the SID, the host name, and this is what we show up in the user interface. You can just enter that, and what we do is just we replace it in the XML file, and then after that we launch an unintended installation of an SAP system. So because like automating SAP systems, it's quite hard. So also like they often come with questions to us. Okay, installing the core application, that's just like a third of the whole thing, but they want to, like for a demo, they want to pre-fill it with data. They want to have users in there, and we always try to automate that, but it's really hard because it's like, I don't know, it's on purpose, so that's why they have these expensive consultants. So if it's easy to automate, then maybe SAP gets a problem. So that's why it ends up at a certain point. So we say, okay, we can just install the basic system. But especially we have, like for the HANA, the colleagues of us, they're doing a lot of HANA trainings. So they are quite happy with it, like a blank HANA installation. And for them it's quite useful.
It seems very easy to sort of spin out resources. How do you ensure it's not being wasted? You ensure people haven't spun stuff up and they're not using it?
So we are using, maybe I can go to the screenshot here. So what do we, so usually you have like, you have different system landscapes. So like, I don't know, you're a project manager and you want to have some resources, and yeah, use that. And also give that user resource to your colleagues. So you say, okay, you have so much money and you want so many resources. We always do that with the quota settings.
Okay.
So what you can see here, like, okay, I can spin up like 59 virtual machines, this and this of storage. So this is a limitation, okay, yeah, you have to tell us how much money you have and you will get it.
You charge it internally, do you actually
Yes.
look at usage?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because that's what comes to the point, if you don't charge, then they just leave it running.
Yeah.
So, except, for example, just this huge HANA databases, if you don't destroy your machines after the training, if you do it at Amazon, your bill is quite huge. So,
Yeah.
and internally nobody cares, but we will charge. And maybe, yeah, at the end we have a separated billing tool, so you can really go from the domain down to this. So here we call it landscapes, but it's actually a project. So we're using projects quite heavily in CloudStack. And then based on that, we can go down to the virtual machine and disk for everything. We can create a price.
How big are your development cloud? I mean, in terms of hardware?
It's not that huge. So compared to what we do for SAP, I always think that's really tiny. So I think we have in the production we have 10 hypervisors in a production environment. So with I'm not quite sure about the storage, but we have 10 set nodes as well. And then we have a separate environment which is just our test lab. So this is what we use for testing CloudStack upgrades, testing staff upgrades. So it's really tiny, but it's the same functionality with all the components, with the same setup and so on. But for internal use, for right now it's okay. So, but we can. I think it doesn't matter with the amount of hypervisor storage. So since we always think in the future to make it scalable, because like we also do same kind of things for SAP, and we've seen a lot of bottlenecks where it doesn't scale with lots of machines. So we have that environment with 120,000 virtual machines. So you hit problems with the amount of machines, really. But in the tiny environment, for us it works quite good now.
I've seen you listed backup PC as a backup solution.
Yes.
They use it, right? They use it inside of Linux, right? Or
Yes, so right now we have just started a project to somehow get rid of it. So
okay, because I wanted to ask how good it is in terms of
because it's really for just file backup, it's quite useful. It doesn't have an API, so it's really hard to control. And also what we always do is we try to integrate it into the UI. In this case we haven't done that yet. But like for the monitoring, we integrated it in the UI, so you don't see that. But for the backup PC, it's quite hard. It's like a file backup takes quite a long time.
have you found or thought of suitable placement?
We have trying to find something with based on Ceph, so we can do Ceph snapshots and then copy them later on to somewhere else, because when we do backup with backup PC, you have you have two ways to do a backup of a database. You can create a dump somewhere else, so then you have double of space, and then we do the backup of this, or we just shut down everything and then do a complete file backup. But it's very storage consuming, so that's why. But backup PC, it does deduplication and on file basis and also compression. So for us, for the beginning, it worked quite good, but with lots of backups running at the same time, we are running problems. So we are already thinking about replacing it. But for single file backups with single file restore, it's quite easy. Okay, one question?
Yeah. Which hypervisor do you use for your production environment?
We have the KVM running.
Okay. Does the customer choose? Does the customer maintain the underlying operating system, or do you maintain it?
We provide both. So we can have we just give them the UI and say, okay, do what you want, or we have services on top where we do all the operations. So we care about the application, we care about the alerts and so on.
If the customer is maintaining the operating system, do they have issues with these Ansible agents running on it?
No, the Ansible, there's no agent. So Ansible comes from the outside and do it via SSH. So they can only disturb it by removing the public key. Then we are out. But there's no agent running on the machine. It's just running on that. You just have the Ansible running on here, and it's just doing SSH to the machine. So there's no need for a local agent. That's the good thing with Ansible. That even if you want to automate network devices, you cannot install any agents. That Ansible is quite good there.
You mentioned snapshotting Ceph to do a backup of your KVM. What are you using for that?
We are not using it, but we are thinking about it. So to do snapshots. So we have played with a year ago. We started playing with CloudStack and Ceph, because usually when you click snapshot, it creates a copy to the secondary storage, which is very space consuming. But there's a setting you can say set in CloudStack. Okay, do a snapshot, but don't copy it to the secondary storage. Just keep it as a snapshot in Ceph. That's possible. And I think with the new versions there are more possibilities. But I'm not that deep into this.
You can also restore actually from newer versions, which was a surprise for me personally. Previously you couldn't restore from any kind of volume snapshot to CloudStack. You can only create new resource, new VM. Right. Snapshot the first volume to template to new VM. And now you actually have the possibility to restore as well. If I'm not mistaken, I believe also for Ceph. At least for NFS, I'm sure.
Okay.
So that was something which I didn't read anywhere, but I found out by accident.
Yeah, there are a lot of features coming with the new versions, and also we are planning to upgrade to the Blue Store with Ceph, so we don't have a file system, so it's changing quite a lot there. So, but that's why we have our testing environment for. I can give you more answers soon, hopefully.
When you've snapshotted to Ceph, where are you putting that? Are you moving on to another storage device?
That should be the goal in the end. So because you still can break your Ceph cluster, so it should be in the same system.
But is that a feature of Ceph to move on to something else?
I think you can move it to other Ceph cluster, but I'm not kind of friend of that with having it in the same technology, because if you update, so you have problems with Ceph itself, then it will break both systems. So I'm more a friend of having something else and just copy it over there. Because if your hypervisor crashes, okay, you can bring it up, but if you lose your data, you cannot bring it back. That's the problem.
You could use QEMU or IMG to another machine with access to the same Ceph cluster to convert that snapshot into a, say, QCOW file on some other storage that's mounted. Some other.
Yeah, you would have to convert it, because on our Ceph cluster they are all raw devices, and I think that's the default.
And when you use QEMU IMG, depending on what type of target value, QCOWs will be a thin provision. So
right, QCOW does compression.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a bit more space efficient to use it like that.
Oh, and compress it not at the file level, on the block storage level.
I think it is the convert option just to copy as well. If you just say source and destination is the same format, so I think it's, as far as I remember, it's quite happy to do it.
But okay.
Is it via CamWinch, or you can literally export as it? with a RPD or whatever utility, you can actually export the snapshot, or you just can image to read from the volume and convert on the fly. So if it supports RPD, which now mostly it does, and it will just obviously copy the used blocks, of course, to make as thin as possible on the destination.
Yeah, because backup is a difficult topic, so because the data volumes are quite big, so that's taking a lot of time. And also, like, we have also challenges. We spoke about the virtualization, so like moving a big HANA database which is in use, so from one hypervisor to the other. So at SAP side in that environment, we increased the timer to 24 hours because it's the data changing faster than you can copy it to somewhere else. So there are a lot of challenges there with the huge systems. You've got a question. No.
So no, I haven't.
I'm
looking at you thinking you want to sit down.
Yeah, so I'm done. If there are no more questions, so
right.
Then
Thank you. I'd like to say thanks to Andre as well, but he's disappeared.